Okay, so
1 second.
oh, it looks like we're live.
Okay.
I think we're live. So welcome back to Know It and Grow It, the Introduction to Edible Gardening series. I am hoping that some of our participants who were with us, when did we start? We did all of the month of June, right? Together. And then we all got really busy and we basically took off the month of July. And here we are back together again. I don't think we've had like a day that has felt cool and comfortable to be outside, but that seems to be the mode of this time. Like every Tuesday, it's going to be really, really hot. So we're doing a special series right now, and I want to just like talk about it for a second so that people who are joining who may not know kind of what this is all about will be able to get tuned in. So we're doing, we've been doing the Know It and Grow It series with our local experts, our local community gardening experts. And I'm going to introduce them in just a second. But now we're doing this special series that's for the hashtag Everyone Gets a Garden program. And this is a program that it's put together by a bunch of different agencies, including Greater Newark LISC, the Victoria Foundation, Greater Newark Conservancy, the Nature Conservancy. Oh yes, and of course, Groundworks Elizabeth. And we're all coming together to kind of put gardening materials into the hands of people who, many of them have never grown anything before, and try and help them get started with edible gardening. And as part of that, we're doing this education series to kind of teach what we know about growing in the city and answer questions. So the program is meant for residents of the Fairmount Heights neighborhood in Newark. So if you are a member of that neighborhood and you are not already a part of the program, please, you can put something in the Facebook comments and you can, let's see, well, we'll try and take down some information from you so that we can send you more information about how you could join the program. Yeah, and if you know anybody who lives in that neighborhood. So we're still recruiting, looking for new participants to join the program. So today, I'm talking away without even introducing myself. My name is Sarah O'Leary. I'm the Director of Education for Greater Newark Conservancy. And my whole background is as a horticulturist and a landscape designer and all of that, but now I'm in education. But I'm still like the education director who's always kind of dirty at work. That's what I'm known for. And so I've really liked being able to kind of do gardening stuff, especially with this series this summer. And we have two of our community garden experts on the call today. And can I call on you first, Alice?
Oh, sure. But when Kevin comes in, will he be able also to jump in?
Exactly, yes, jump in. And Aurelis, if you're comfortable, and I'm like, I don't want you to do anything silly, but if you can translate a little bit along the way, if you can invite any of our friends who are Spanish speakers, if they want to get further information, that they can contact you guys through the GroupMe.
Okay. So basically, you want me to introduce myself in English and Spanish?
Exactly. That would be terrific.
Hey, we do it. Okay. So I start English first. So my name is Arelis, and I would say one of the founder of Rabbit Hole Farm. But Rabbit Hole Farm is one of the urban gardens here in Newark. So my husband and I, Kevin, we just look after the garden. So, and it has been our school for the past 7 years. Okay, so and we are eager to share with others anything that we can share. So anybody's welcome to come by, look at the garden. We are 36 Rose Terrace in Newark, right next to Avon Avenue School, on the back part of the Avon Avenue School. Okay. So mi nombre es Arelis y yo soy una de las fundadoras junto a mi esposo Kevin Porter. Formamos un jardín aquí en Newark, en el 36 de Rose Terrace en Newark, al lado de la escuela de Avon Avenue School, en la parte trasera de la escuela. Si manejan por acá no se lo van a perder. Y nuestro objetivo es educar a la gente, compartir lo que hemos aprendido durante 7 años. Cuando nosotros comenzamos no sabíamos tampoco y aprendimos un poquito. So, estamos buscando poder compartir esa información. So, cualquier cosa nos pueden llamar al 973 973-477-9914. So, 973-477-1499. Okay, thank you. Gracias.
Thank you, Alice. And then, yeah, if Kevin comes in, we'll just introduce him. He can introduce himself. And so next, Charmaine LaFortune is going to say hello.
Hi, everyone. My name is Charmaine LaFortune, and I'm the founder of the Giving 110 Community Garden that's located at 715-717 South 20th Street. Our garden's been established for the last 4 years. We've been planting for 3. Our garden has a social space. We have perennials around the borders, and we plant mostly vegetation and greens, herbs. We cater to the diverse community in our neighborhood. So we try to plant things like bitter melon, okra, things that, the community loves to eat. We also like to incorporate activities for kids. That is our passion, and let kids know how to grow food, how the seeds germinate. So we try to get all the kids involved that live in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I think I'm so glad that you guys are both on, because both of your gardens are really great examples of how, a garden can really make a neighborhood a place, they really are a place that sort of builds community around them. Yes. And it's both with the programming and with the look of the place, everything about it, and who you are as people, that you're inviting others in, and that you're, teaching all the time for people both young and old. So I know that that's a great value for both of your garden spaces.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that we should actually, before we sign off today, make sure that we allow both of you to talk a little bit about programs that you have in your gardens, because I know that there's been a lot of really interesting activity at Rabbit Hole recently. I feel really, I feel sad that I haven't been able to visit, but I got to hear some about it recently. So we'll save that as like a teaser for later on. And we'll probably, when we were doing Know It and Grow It, we were doing a full hour. We can probably, if we are not going to do Q&A, we'll see if we get any questions, we'll go for it. We'll stay on as long as we need to answer people's questions, but we'll see, we don't need to do a full hour. We can sort of fill our time productively here, and then we'll have more to say next week. So just to say a little bit about the program that we're doing, and then as I understand, Charmaine, you've got some slides for us, right? So let me just say a little bit. So the way that we say a little bit about how Everyone Gets a Garden got started, it started out like as we all went into some kind of, stay at home, quarantine, restriction, we started talking about, it was March then, there wasn't a lot growing outside. And I don't know if I'd even planted any seeds. Do you guys remember, had you started any seeds?
I did, but then they died and I started again because it got too cold.
Yeah, there were some bumps in that spring. So yeah, I remember, I got home and I was like, I just felt, and I would imagine that you two are the same way. I felt fortunate that I had a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of space, a little bit of readiness to start growing my own food, because there's been the uncertainty that actually is behind all kinds of, behind the easy trip to the supermarket that everybody takes. There's actually a bunch of uncertainty that we just don't feel, right? Because so much of our food system is invisible. It's just, we expect those trucks to keep rolling in from the countryside, somehow bringing us food all the time. And, usually we don't notice that it's actually can be, it's very precarious for all kinds of reasons. And so at this point, when those of us who are gardeners started saying, hey, it's important that more people kind of have the ability, the access, have more control of their food security. And that's true all the time. This just made it, it's a spotlight on it. The pandemic has made a spotlight on it. So we started talking about how we could help people get some gardening supplies without necessarily people having like a garden space to grow in. And so we planned the garden to be, or the project to use kind of modular pieces. And I don't know, Charmaine, do you have like pictures of the materials that we're using, or your slides other stuff?
No, I didn't actually take photos of those yet.
Well, after you do your slides, I'm gonna show, because I have one that it's not exactly like what people are using in the project, but I have a tomato growing in a little grow bag, so I can at least show that before we tune out. But yeah, so what we did was we set people up with grow bags, which are, it's not a natural material. I don't know, it's woven from nylon or something like that. And they come in different sizes, and then, but they got a really nice organic garden soil to put in them, and some plants and some seeds. And the whole thing was like trying to get people growing, because for various reasons we didn't get started right away. What can people start growing in July, which is not the ideal time to grow? And I will be curious, I hope somebody who's growing things that we distributed will jump on and tell us, how their things are growing. I know I'm seeing from Facebook that people are saying they're glad we're back. So there's Kevin. So, hey. So that's cool. So some of the people who joined us before for Know It and Grow It, I think are watching on Facebook. And I've just been talking, Kevin, about how this new project, Everyone Gets a Garden, is going. We're gonna delve into some more of that in a minute. And Charmaine has some slides for us. But why don't you introduce yourself a little bit, even though you were already mentioned. Yeah, okay. You could introduce the cat too.
Okay.
They want to.
Okay, my name is Kevin Porter, and a Newark resident, I guess lifelong Newark resident. I grew up in the same house I'm still in for over 50 years. So I was introduced to urban farming through the Greater Newark Conservancy about 9 years ago, 7 years ago. It's 8 years, really. Okay, 8 years ago.
Who's counting?
2013. So yes, that's right, 2013, and it was like a minimal gamble situation. It was $100 to adopt a lot through the city of Newark, and me and my spouse partner are vegetarians. So we said, hey, let's give it a try. What do we have to lose? It's $1, So we started out then, and it has blossomed in the most amazing way. And it's has taken us places into areas that we would never have dreamed of being, and doing this type of work and community. Yeah, it's about community. And from day one, we always had community in mind. But when I checked with all my neighbors, everybody thought it was good for somebody else, but not them. So we saw how this was going.
That's the Chicken Little principle, right? Or the Little Red Hen, right?
Yes. So for those who are contemplating or have started this venture, I would say gather up your friends first and supporters. They may not be in your neighborhood. They may be in your neighborhood. Most of our supporters are not in our neighborhood. You know,
Exactly.
Our supporters, they support us. In other words, they say it's a beautiful place. We like it here. It looks beautiful. We don't want it to go anywhere. They support us in that way. But most of the people that do the work are from outside of this community. Outside of our neighborhood, and actually outside of Newark sometimes. You know, we get kids from Madison, New Jersey, from Elizabeth, New Jersey, and other places that come in and do work here. So it's a bridge. It connects communities.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's super important too, because
Yeah.
I mean, I live in Essex County, and just not far, I live in West Orange, and it's like people, sort of feel like we're a million miles apart,
Yes, they do. Yeah.
No, we're not. We're neighbors.
Yes. And so that's where we are, and Rabbit Hole Farm, that's the name. And so that's where we are, and this is where it has taken us, and it's still evolving. We can't say it's done, and I would say as long as we live, we will never say it's done. It's just evolving from here to there to there to here, and just constantly growing. Maybe not physically, but in a more unseen way, spiritually, you could say, or it just continues to grow. Even though the lot maintains the same size in a way, it continues to grow. And here's a funny way. I asked my neighbor what were they doing with their front yard. They said nothing. You want to do something, do something. Okay, so I did something. And then the neighbor looked at it and said, hey, the rabbit hole is overflowing. It's over. I said, yes, you're right. We have so many seeds, seedlings, and plants that I ask my neighbors now, hey, what are you doing with the front? And I plant something there. So it is overflowing into the community.
That's
in a positive way.
Yeah. Well, I think your garden, because I remember when you were starting out and you were still having problems with dumping on your lot, and you were trying to put tree trunks like at the
to keep stolen cars from
keep people from just driving right up onto it. And to think of how like incredibly beautiful and rich a landscape it is now. And I think it's like a painting, where it's like, it's like a painting that you just keep adding layers to, it has that, but it's like a moving painting. It's not a fixed painting.
Yeah, it's always moving. People are coming in and putting their little brush in something and painting their own little mark on it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, because it's not one person, it's a community. And not one community, it's different communities that contribute to making it what it is.
Right. And not only human communities, right?
Right. Not only human. It is nature.
Yeah, for sure. So Charmaine, do you want to, okay, I know we introduced you. Do you want to go to some of your PowerPoint right now?
Sure.
Okay, and then I think we were gonna, that's right on track. We can do that. I'll run out. I'm gonna see if I can, I'm not gonna run out right away, but I'm gonna see if I can get my phone to work so I can take some shots of the containers that I have growing, the grow pots, or grow bags. And then, here we go. Good job.
It's not going how I want it to go.
What do you want to do?
I was going to zoom out so you can only see the PowerPoint.
I think you can do that down at the bottom by your 81%.
There we go. It wasn't right. So as I said before, our garden is located at 715-717 South 20th Street, and we started this space 3 years ago. This is our social space, I like to call it. We have a lot of annuals and perennials growing here. I actually planted castor oil plant this year from the Conservancy. I got those seeds. I love them. It's the best.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you did that,
So the
because I've been wanting to grow that forever.
It's so beautiful. I should have added those pictures to the slides, but you see the sunflowers right below the sign of the fence. It's actually taller than the fence right now, and it's a variety of colors. It's amazing, the landscape and the colors that we have. So all we have on the space so far is a shed for storage and a greenhouse that we don't grow anything. We store things in it now because it's so hot, it kills everything. We need to actually tear this down and build something that's more user-friendly, and that we could actually grow seedlings year round, because we actually have some hydroponics equipment that we should install, but I'm still waiting on the solar panels to be delivered for the garden, so we could generate power to run this hydroponics this year. And so what we do we have like evening events respecting social distancing. Mostly it's the volunteers. We have 2 faithful volunteers that shows up. One gentleman that retired recently, and another guy that was just walking by, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come back and volunteer." And we were like, "Yeah, right. We've heard that before." And he showed up, and it's really great because, you know, he wanted to learn about this because he's a teacher at Orange High School, and he wanted to start a program there. So he's been learning a lot from us. Plus, he started his own garden, and this is what we've been trying to do this year, is to help other people start their gardens. So I'm working with the American Heart Association. With kids, we actually give out some planters and seedlings to kids so they could start growing food themselves. And even my garden partner, she started a garden at her house. I should actually take pictures so I could share that. I mean, they have tomatoes, spring beans, bok choy, pumpkin, squash, okras. I mean, it's a variety of everything that we grow in the garden. They started growing in their own space. Cucumbers. So this was from the end of June. So we have no more bok choy. We have a lot of kale, Chinese broccolis, lots of peppers. Cucumbers are coming in right now. The okras are coming in. So, and we need to start actually the fall seedlings. So this is all long bean. I actually got this variety from an heirloom brand, and I was really happy because I thought all the seeds that I started died. But, you know, I finally got a red long bean, and we also have red okras, which is great.
That's beautiful.
So this was last Friday's harvest. And that was actually, no, this was Sunday's harvest actually, and this was Sunday's dinner. And this was yesterday's harvest with the beets.
Oh my gosh, look at those beets. Those are gorgeous.
Yep.
What are those, Charmaine, can you go back one slide?
Sure.
Those are really long green beans, actually. Are those green beans?
No, we call it Bodhi from Trinidad, but it's actually snake beans, they call it. Yeah.
Snake beans. And
yes.
it's like you eat it like a green bean. Yes. How do you cook it?
So for me, I cook all my vegetables the same way. I put olive oil in the pan, like a smearing of olive oil in the pan, and I put garlic. And then the way that I clean this, I take the tips off and I just cut it in like 1-inch pieces. Mm-hmm. Then add it to the pan. And you know, the Spanish have something called sofrito. Well, I make my own with cilantro, parsley, any green herb you have. I grind it up and I keep it in a bottle and I add it to everything that I cook. So then I add that and just simmer it down. You don't add water, and that's how you cook it, and it tastes really good.
That would be really smart. I gotta start doing that. Do you guys make sofrito, Kevin and
we say masala.
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 You say masala?
More Indian spices.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that I should do that because I like just last night, like I have a lot of herbs out in the garden, but once I'm cooking, I'm like, I don't want to go outside. It's too much trouble. But if I had it already in the fridge,
Yes.
that would be the way to do it. I'm gonna take a tip.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to do the easiest way. For me, with my garlic, I buy the garlic wholesale and I grind everything up and keep it in the bottle because I hate to crush garlic every time I have to cook. we use so much of it. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
Pre-prep everything. This was the collards. And like I have the same 3 top tips to getting started. Don't plant too many things at the beginning of your first garden. Start planting your garden sooner than later, and just have fun. Garden is fun. To me, that's my relaxation. That's my exercise. I love gardening. I love being outdoors. I just love being in nature. So it's really important for us in our community. And having the space in our neighborhood has really changed the outlook. People stop all the time. They actually rerouted traffic about a month ago. And I'm working from home and I'm looking at all these people just stopping their cars, coming out and just putting their hands on the fence and just like admiring. Or they will stand in front of the flowers and just start posing and taking photos, which is really nice. Which is a really nice thing. So you see that people do appreciate it. And like most of the vegetation that we grow, we donate it. So this Friday, we're gonna have a greens giveaway. We have Chinese broccoli, like I said. We'll have more cucumbers, and we have lots of kale. So Friday morning between 8 and 10, we'll be giving away, greens.
Come by, yeah. Wow. The pictures were gorgeous. Thank you for sharing those. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm so glad that you had all those to share because I think for people starting out, it's really inspirational to see what you can do, with just starting out growing things. It doesn't have to be all of that, but each little thing is a success. Each thing that you get to grow, you can, feel good about. And I bet you guys are all like me. Like if I grew it, I don't care if it comes out like it's the crookedest carrot or whatever.
I eat it.
It's gonna get eaten.
Great here.
Yeah. It just has a whole, you have a different relationship with your food when you have put some work into it. Even if you value it a lot, when you recognize farmers are putting value into the food. I know, like, I feel differently about the stuff that I grew myself, and I'll wash it until I get every bug off of it. I know there's some bugs on it, but I'm still gonna get through them and eat it. Okay, so I am gonna try right now, and I'm hoping, Kevin, maybe while I'm starting this, maybe you and Aurelis can talk about. Some of the people who are starting, we just gave out materials. When was it? Was it 2 weeks ago, Charmaine? Some of them just got materials 2 weeks ago. Some people even just got them last week. So what they got were grow bags and soil. Some of them got, I think we had the plants supplied from Groundwork Elizabeth were like, there were some tomato plants, there were cucumber plants, there were, I can't remember. Pepper, eggplant.
There was some ground cherries. I think that was it. Some herbs and basil they had when I came by.
Yes, basil, right. So, I mean, it is late to start those things, but I think that people are still going to be able to harvest something from those plants if they can get them into a nice sunny location. And I'm gonna, when I walk out, I'm gonna show you, like, I have some cucumber seeds that I had to restart because whatever, I had a little fiasco. I had to start them over. So I'm going to show you, they're not very far along. So it'll be a little bit of we can look back upon them and see if they're going to develop into anything bearing cucumbers. But can you guys give any tips for, like, trying to get things going in the middle of summer? Like, if you're replanting something, what makes that successful, or what kind of things you need to do to help things that if you're planting seed or just supporting plants in midsummer when it's really hot, what things you need to think about. Can you give us some words of wisdom on that?
For me, like now, since I'm starting some new seeds for the fall, I soak all my seeds in the night, because at least 24 hours, so that it can start sprouting. Because if you plant them directly in soil, it takes longer to sprout. So I actually start, just soak it in water, throw the water out, and just leave it sitting for a couple more hours, and you'll see seeds start to germinate. And then I put it in the soil at that point in time. In regards to, planting now, I just actually dug some peppers out of the bed, because I made the great mistake of planting more cucumbers than I expected in the bed. And it's like a forest. And cucumbers have a way of just trailing on everything else and vining on everything. So it's actually suffocating the rest of the plant. So I dug out some of the peppers and planted it in grow bags. And what I did, I have those, it's like a construction black bin you could get from Home Depot. I filled it with water after I planted it in the bags, and I left it in there yesterday because the weather is like 90-something degrees. I didn't want it to go into shock. So that's something that I do all the time. And I try to replant things either late in the afternoon, or if it's a nice day, it's going to be really cool, early in the morning, so the plant doesn't go into too much shock. Anything, Kevin?
Well,
basically the same. It's like we're not putting seed down. We had to transplant some things because I'm finding a lot of things like under the shade that are not growing, so I had to find them like sunny spot. So I do basically the same. I try to do that in the evening, so they can be cool overnight. And then the next day I had to cover it with something so the sun doesn't hit them directly, so they don't get that shot. And then make sure that they water. So that's what we're doing now. And then I guess like in a few more weeks we have to start getting ready for the fall. But now it's like water, like you need too much sun, protecting it from the sun.
Yeah, and far as starting seeds, that's a great idea to soak them, not only to get a start. A lot of times seeds that are donated because the germination rate is down and they still have the packets of seeds, so the germination rate may not be correct. Most likely it may not be. But if you sprout it, it saves you that wondering, is this gonna grow? You can't see it. At least if you start sprouting it, you'll know right then, okay, this seed is good, it's alive, and I'm not wasting my time and effort by just sticking it in the ground. So that helps you there. Another thing to look at too, if you're starting out and you're starting out now, check around with fellow farmers, because lots of times we have too much of something that's growing, because again, we're direct seeding, so we're going to overseed. So then we wind up with these seedlings at certain points in the summertime where, okay, we'll see which is the strongest, and they're all looking strong. So now we need to find out, where can we put this? So if somebody calls up, a friend, fellow farmer, says, hey, do you have this? Yes, we do. And you can take it, transplant it, it's full grown, give it a lot of love and care, and water a lot. And a lot of times it will take, certain things won't, a lot of root vegetables, forget about it. Cucumber, forget about it. I don't think that would transplant, but a lot of other things will transplant. It's just be careful and give it your best. It will transplant, and it'll save you from starting at scratch now. Again, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of farmers that are farming now that have something that you can have this, you can have that, take that, and just transplant it. Yeah. And you can eat it
Yeah,
next week.
anybody interested, like in Rabbit Hole, we have a lot of things that like flowers and things like that. That year round we have babies, seedlings.
Herbs.
So anybody,
Basils.
anybody interested, like just let us know, and then if you can come
Yeah.
by, we can give you whatever we can give you, and that doesn't matter the time of the year. We always have.
Yeah, we always have stuff. Yeah, so anytime.
That is
Yeah.
that's really nice. That's such a good offer. Thank you. That's so cool. Well, can you guys see the plant I'm showing right now?
Yep.
So this is smaller than the bags. I think, I don't know, Charmaine, did you, I know you got one of the kits. Did you like actually put soil in the bag?
Yes, I did. It was one of the smaller bags. It looks like a.
Supposed to be 7.5 gallon. That's
Yeah, it's about that.
I think this one is probably smaller though. Like I think maybe they call it 5 gallon. It's really not 5 gallon.
No, it looked like a 5-gallon bag to me because I had another bag and it was a bit wider.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It was a bit challenging. The shovel is actually the same width of a shovel, a normal size spade shovel. So
yeah, so about 12 maybe inches wide or a little
yes.
bit less.
Yes.
So it works. I mean, this size container, this size bag works really fine for like, this is it's called Racer, this tomato, and somebody donated these plants. I don't know, did you plant in? Oh yeah, Kevin, you don't do the tomatoes. You have your babies that you carry on year to year.
Yeah.
But these were ones that we got donated, and it was a really fun tomato because it's called Racer, and it was super fast. It was like, I've been getting the tomatoes from this since almost the end of June. You know, they're really fast for a tomato, and it's the right size for a little container like this. You know, like I wouldn't want to. These were other ones. You know, like it's kind of hard to show the perspective on it, but this is like this big buffalo steak tomato. I don't think you could grow that.
No.
It would just knock the whole thing over with that weight. Yeah. But one thing I wanted to say about these bags, if people are trying to grow in them, they dry out pretty quickly. I don't know. Have you found that, Charmaine, when you've been?
No, I just actually did it. Yes, Monday. Monday. Yeah, yesterday I moved them over. So like I said, I had them in a container because it's 91 degrees outside. So I knew it was going to get dry out.
Yeah.
Really
well,
fast.
I did not water this evening. I didn't water this morning. And you can see it's really dry in here because it's, it's a pretty breathable pot, not like a plastic pot that's really gonna.
That's good to know.
Yeah. I think you probably have to water them maybe more than you would if it was in a plastic container,
So I will definitely leave it in that plastic tray because it's better if I just have the water seeping up, to the roots.
That's a really good idea because people got as part of that kit those seedling kits so they could use the tray and put the grow bag right into a plastic container to.
Yeah. Your plants look so healthy.
No, they don't. What are you talking about? Like now here I'm trying to celery for the first time. I think.
Oh yeah, I'm growing that also.
After I planted it, I read a thing that said celery is mainly valued as a challenge plant for gardeners.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that too.
It's like it just got woody. Like I think it'll taste good in a soup, but you're not gonna be like putting that. You're not gonna be making ants on a log with that, putting peanut butter on that celery and eating it up. All right.
Someone asked a question of how often you wet the grow bags.
Uh-oh, sorry. Here, am I? Sorry, that's the problem of having two microphones. I've been watering, like I try and water my containers every day anyway. So I would say if you are able to water them every day, that's going to be probably the best. You know, it's not a very big, like the bigger the volume of soil that you have, the less you have to water it because it can retain, it's going to evaporate
Okay.
less. But, you know, with a small container and it's fabric like that, it's just going to be, it's going to be giving off a lot of, it's going to be evaporating a lot of water. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Someone else asked about what is a grow bag?
so that one, you know, the one I showed, it actually didn't, like the ones we got, the people got in the kits, they have handles, right?
Yes, they do, which is really helpful.
It's kind of cool because
Yeah.
then you can move them around that way. The one that I was just showing, I found at the Conservancy. It must have been left there from some project years ago, probably when Justin was there or something. And that didn't have handles, but you can purchase them, like they're selling them a lot of places now on the internet as a, you know, sort of alternative to like
Buying a pot.
Yeah.
But you know
Yeah.
what we've been doing? We've been using the landscaper fabric, and we've been sewing our own grow bags to donate. So we double up the landscaper fabric, and we've been making bags out of those. So it's really more economical on our end.
No way, you're making your own grow bags with
Yeah.
like fabric. Wow,
Yes.
Cool.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. You're gonna have to show some of those, right?
I
Do you-
will. I will get them over. Hopefully I'll be able to do a video in the garden. My fear is with the internet, it starts, you know, your experience last couple of times. It was dropping, Kevin. That was my greatest fear. My phone,
Yeah.
even though it's AT&T, it's like questionable if you're doing video.
Yeah, it's even with like a good setup, it doesn't work that. Like we had a whole idea for our camp that we're doing online, that we have this whole garden, we have a pond, we can go out and we can show things and whatever. And every time we go out, we have some technical failure. It's that part. So let's see, some people are asking some questions here. First of all, I want to say that I'm excited to see that we have Nehemiah's mom. We have one of my campers' moms who's on the call, and they have a really nice garden. I got to see their garden, and it's a nice diverse garden. It's, you know, like they have a lot of different stuff kind of packed into it.
It's
So
great.
that's cool. Yeah, and it was really fun because her son showed off the garden to the rest of
I
the
was so
camp.
proud.
It's great to, you know, when kids can show off to other kids, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm growing this stuff. And let's see, oh yeah, so somebody was asking about how often you water in the grow bags. And somebody was asking, are there any community gardens that they can become a part of?
Mine's giving 1 cent.
Wait, no, mine. So,
It's just ask her.
yeah, right. Everybody who doesn't want people's take a step back, right? Everybody's. So that was from Kimberly. So Kimberly, at least, you know, the 2 community gardeners who are on here are looking for people who would be interested in becoming a part of their community. I can tell you that the Conservancy runs some school gardens that now that, you know, we're probably not going to be able to work in them exactly as we had with kids. We're looking for people who have an interest in growing and like kind of being community partners at those gardens. So there's one by Harriet Tubman School, if you know where that is. There's one by Avon Avenue School. There's a couple different spaces by Avon Avenue School. Kevin's garden is right near Avon Avenue School. Charmaine, your garden, I know you said it at the beginning, but say it again.
So it's on 20th Street on the corner of 19th Avenue. You can't miss it.
19th
It's like it pops
You
out.
can't
at
miss
the
it because it's gorgeous. So, and if you want to get in on the ground floor of an ungorgeous garden, the garden that we've been hosting farm stands at it's across from 13th Avenue School. I can tell you, it could be a beautiful garden. It was a beautiful garden at one time, but it hasn't really had a steward for a while. And so we're looking for people. Sorry, you hear that? I've got a plane flying, drowning me out. We're looking for people who would want to garden at that garden it's on 13th Avenue, I think between 8th and 9th Streets. And I'm trying to think, there's another community gardener in the Fairmount Heights area. I know who she's looking for other people to garden with her. So, you know, to jump into community, like the Conservancy runs a program that we call Plot It Fresh, where we have plots at our farm and people can just rent a garden plot. Actually, you could rent them for free this year because we refunded everybody's money so that more people could come in and be able to grow. And that's one kind of relationship of how people garden in communal spaces, right? But I think probably at the kind of sites that you're talking about, you're like working with other people in a more, why don't you say, like, we're almost out of time, but either one of you who want to say, like, I know you talked about working with volunteers, but like, what's your vision of working with other people? Like, you guys are you're the impresario of your space, but what's it like to work with other people there?
Well, I was just telling a woman that I met today and invited over to the garden. We're running a summer camp. We start at 10 a.m. in the morning, and we have a vegan restaurant from Jersey City that's supplying us a vegan meal, which is
Real food.
excellent. Real food, incredible food. And I only had 2 meals, but yeah, incredible already. So what makes our place, I guess, the same as every other one, and we're talking about we connect. And I was telling this woman, she was young, and I'm telling her, I'm like the grandpa there. Most of the people there are like half my age. I says, but we connect on this holistic level. And I says, I tell you what, here's another thing. I don't know if I should say this, but I'll say it. Most of the people don't have jobs. These are young people that are in college and says, you know, that this isn't, college thing is not working for me. Or, you know, I wonder, one young lady says, I wonder, can I survive without having a job? And I said, it's quite a few women here that do that. It's a woman that went with us to Guatemala last year. She babysits. And then I asked her sister, who I saw a couple of weeks ago. I talked to her a couple of weeks ago. I says, where's Ari? Oh, she's up working on the farm in Vermont.
Really?
You know? So, I mean, and another young woman, she has a son that's 5 years old, and she's she was a substitute Newark school teacher, and she says, I brought a EMS ambulance that was for sale, and I'm going to fix it up to live in, and me and my son are going to drive across country. She's very versed with how to grow stuff. She's worked on farms and other places. So I says, if you really want to do it, you can do it, because there are people in that group that are doing it, or they plan on doing it, and they've done enough research and they feel comfortable to step out of this box. And that's why we call the rabbit hole, because it's a lot deeper than what you see on the surface.
You don't know what you're going to get into.
Yeah, you don't know what, but you know, it won't be what you see.
Exactly.
Or what everybody else is seeing. You paint your own picture and you create your own life. And it's not 9 to 5 in generally, as this is what we're seeing that our group does not want. They want something different that benefits, you know, what they do and how they want to contribute to their community, contribute to the earth, contribute to the community in large. How they can be an asset, you know, rather than a consumer, you know. So that's what connects our group, our small group,
Right.
like that.
Well, it's cool, you know, to hear you say that, Kevin, because it's like, I think that for anybody who's community gardening or who's gardening with an idea of kind of sharing with the community, it's all countercultural, right? It's all a little bit like, there's a different way of relating to each other and relating to the earth and thinking about how we're living our lives. That's a little bit, you share that in common when you say, Charmaine, it's like with giving 1/10 is the vision of like,
Right.
be taking care of each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. And taking care of ourselves too.
Yes.
And to grow food is so important, and it's such a liberating thing. I was looking at a documentary a couple of weeks ago about slavery, and it was against the law for a Black person to grow their own food. They could not plant a seed. It was against the law. But it shows you how strong growing your own food is. It is a liberating thing when you plant that seed. You say, because if you can't feed yourself, what can you do? You are tied to the system. If you have to go to the store when you get hungry, you better think twice about what you're doing. Plant a seed, grow your food, and say, you know, I don't have to walk down the street today. I don't have to get in my car today.
Yeah.
I'll just have a salad. You know, so that is so liberating, just to plant that seed and just to think years ago, many years ago, but not too long ago, it was against the law to plant a seed if you were a person of color.
Yeah, thank you for
couldn't do it.
And the food tastes so much better once you grow it. I mean, we don't use any pesticides. We don't use any, you know, fertilizers that's not organic. Or, you know, we use a lot of compost. And the food is so flavorful. It lasts. It has a longer shelf life. You can't describe it until you taste it, but until you grow your own food, you realize a tomato tastes like this, a cucumber tastes like this.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And like you said, you're growing burgundy okra. You mentioned burgundy okra to most people. Burgundy okra. They're like,
what is that?
No.
So somebody, we are basically out of time, and this is a longer question, but somebody asked, what about window gardens? So I think maybe we could return on that topic, because I know that some of the people participating in Everyone Gets a Garden don't have outdoor spaces. Do either of you want to say really quick, though, if you've had any experience with trying to grow window gardens?
Mostly herbs. We have this herb that I grow. I usually grow basil, and there is the Spanish oregano that I grow in my window, which is the best thing because I don't have curtains by my window. I have orchids and plants. This is my curtain, so the sun loves it there. So those are the only two things that I plant on my windowsill. But I believe that you could plant any herb, and it's easy, especially if you cook. You just pluck stuff off and you throw it in the pan, and you know exactly what you've planted. So
that's good. Okay, Julie, this is another thing. We're going to return to these. Now we're getting these questions on, and we've only got 3 minutes left, and I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to plug whatever they need to plug. But Julie asks, how often do you add compost or nutrients to your garden? So it's kind of two different things. We'd spent time when we were doing our earlier series kind of talking about building the soil and compost and nutrients and the relationship. But do either of you want to say something about how you approach that question?
So for me, compost, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I add compost at the beginning of the season. So I add the compost, I incorporate all the amendments in the soil. So for me, I use vermiculite because the soil that I had before was really heavy, and last year's vegetation did not like it at all. So I got some really good compost soil this year. I incorporated that in the existing soil and added vermiculite. And I did that at the beginning, and then for the greens, I added blood meal. When the seedlings, after they had 2 or 3 leaves on it, I added some blood meal, which is an organic fertilizer, especially for greens, and that really helped.
Blood meal supplies a lot of nitrogen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
the soil.
The
Yep.
mosquitoes are coming out in my yard here. Did you want to add something, Aurelis?
Basically, we don't feed the soil that much. Like what we try to do is crop rotation. We don't grow that much food. Like we grow herbs a lot. And herbs, they are more independent. They don't need so much care, so much compost and things like that.
Yeah.
So after 3 years probably that we didn't do anything to the soil, this year with the mushroom compost.
Mushroom compost.
And then the because we don't have a wood chip, so we also try to use whatever decomposed wood chip we have, and then we collect our food scraps and things like that and put it in the garden. So nothing major that we do every year. We just go as we need.
Okay, good. Thanks for that. All right, so we're wrapping up. I want to say, first of all, I said it at the beginning, but I know people jumped on at the end. This is all part of the Know It and Grow It series. That's part of Greater Newark Conservancy's community garden education. But we're doing a particular chunk here devoted to hashtag Everyone Gets a Garden, which is a project that we're doing in the Fairmount Heights neighborhood in Newark. If you are a resident of that neighborhood or you know anyone who's a resident, please have them get a hold of us. You can put your questions to the chat and we'll get back to you through Facebook. And if you are a resident or you're already a participant in hashtag Everyone Gets a Garden, what we've been doing in addition to the gardening materials you got is we have farm shares. So this is food that we grew either on our farm or other local farmers. We're putting together a beautiful bag of produce. Last week, people got cucumbers, tomato, no, not cucumbers, sorry, zucchini, tomatoes, peaches, greens, potatoes, sweet potatoes, a nice set of stuff. We need people to come and pick it up. So we were in at 13th Avenue last week. This week we will be at our farm stand at 32 Prince Street, which is right next to the ShopRite, on Friday from like 3 o'clock, I think, until 6:30. So come by. Even if you're not part of the program, come by. We're going to have extra food. So please do. We have bounty to share. Kevin, Aurelis, do you want to give any you have anything coming up you want to share?
Okay, so anybody interested in learning more or just stopping by, usually one of us will give a tour. We give tours every day now. So we're at 3638 Rose Terrace on the backside of Avon Avenue School, right next to the school. And any kids that you think may be interested in the summer camp, you can bring them by and see
11 to 16.
how they
11,
like.
11 and up.
11 and up age group.
But the way we're doing it, because we still don't have the number we need, we also do it like an open door to the community. So even though the summer camp is for the kids, we are inviting community members to come in and see what it's that we're doing. So that way people can see that what we're doing. So we out there Monday through Thursday, 10 to 2. Okay?
10 to 2.
And there's going to be a vegan lunch if you're part of the camp.
Yes,
and a vegan lunch.
A real vegan lunch.
I know. I don't know how I can continue. Maybe I can quit the camp that I'm doing online. Come to your camp, have fun outside, and eat a good vegan lunch. That sounds good. Charmaine, is there anything you want to put out?
Anyone is welcome. We always love people to stop by. We always share our produce. We're there every day, mostly in the morning. We go out to wet. Well, I've been going out at 6 a.m. to wet before I start work at 8. And stay until probably 10. And then we come out in the afternoon around 5 until 7 or 8. And sometimes we don't have anything to do. We just enjoy the space, look at the birds. My husband flies his drone. So it's a really good space to enjoy. It's
You get
really
some
relaxing.
overhead photos of you.
Yes.
So, I want to say, so for people who are doing Everyone Gets a Garden, you should, if you haven't already, sign on to the GroupMe. that's the best way to get your garden questions answered. So we're checking it. You're on it, right, Kevin?
Yes.
Yes, you're on it. You're looking at her, baby. If I see there's questions and they haven't been answered, I'm going to make sure that you're checking it. And Charmaine is checking it. So anybody can post any question. It's like a hotline. You can get your gardening questions answered by these experts. And Aurelis, I'm sorry to like make you to tokenize you, but can you put that message out to our, if there's any Spanish, if there's any of our Spanish participants or people who would need some extra help with Spanish, can you make that invitation to them?
So they can write any question in Spanish as well, and we go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So tenemos un grupo online que pueden también hacer preguntas en español. Nosotros vamos a estar revisando las preguntas y contestando lo mejor que podamos. So, pueden hacer preguntas también en español y trataremos de ayudarlo lo más posible.
Perfecto. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, gardeners.
Thank you for having us again.
And
Yeah,
we'll try and tune in again next week. Hopefully you guys will both be able to
We'll be away, so see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.